Hi, welcome to SellerSonar. So for today's video, we're going to talk about our API feature. So the API feature was developed to help our users in integrating their SellerSonar data directly into their custom tools, workflows, and systems. All right, so to get started, you can just click here on the Try Now button, and then you will be routed to the SellerSonar API login page. Then you can also open this documentation so you can see and read about our API features over here. Right? So basically, for first-time users, you will get at least 100 credits for the free trial. Okay. All right. And then on the next page, you will be asked to enter your billing information, but you don't need to worry because you will not be charged with anything. Okay. So this is more like a KYC verification of our system. All right. And once you're logged in, this is how it's going to look like in the SellerSonar API app. So currently, there are 6 types of requests that you can make. We have here the product request, the search request, the offers, the best sellers, the storefront sellers, and the Brandstore requests. So each of these types of requests has a corresponding cost in terms of credit whenever you use them. Okay, so let me just show you as well how this works and how much it would actually cost to use them. So let's start first with the product request over here. So basically, a product request is used whenever you want to get information of a specific product or ASIN in a corresponding marketplace. So for example, let's try here. Let's just stick with Amazon.com and the sample ASIN that we have. Then you can select a specific output if you want a JSON format or a CSV format. But by default, it's going to be set as a JSON format. Okay. Then click on Send API Request. So give it a couple of seconds for the results to be generated. All right, so now we got the results. So basically, for each product request that you make, it would cost you 1 credit. So you can check them here at the information in the documentation page. So for product details, as you can see over here, each would cost 1 specific credit per request that you make in the product request. All right. So we got here the sample results now. So you'll be able to see here specific ASIN, the date and time it was gathered by our system, the type of product, okay, and all other information like the number of sellers for that specific ASIN. Got here variations, listing categories, search categories, and many other important details that you could use. We would also be able to see here if there are some sort of badges for that specific ASIN, their titles, their brands, even sample images, image links, that is, their pricing, buy box price, and so on. Okay. Now let's try the search request. So the search request basically is used if you want to gather a list of products that shows up in the Amazon search results pages whenever you search using a specific keyword for it. Okay, so let's try selecting here a specific marketplace. For example, let's try amazon.co.uk. And let's stick with the sample keyword over here. Then for the max page, we have the option to select up to 7 pages. So this refers to the number of pages on the search results page in Amazon that you want to gather. Like for this example, let's just try to put 1. And then for the output, okay, let's just stick with JSON as well. And now click on Send API Request. All right, here we go. So for the sample keyword that we use, DDR5 RAM, it's over here. Then the parse date and time. So these are the list of products that appears in the search pages in Amazon. That is amazon.co.uk. Whenever we search using this specific keyword over here. So we got here the ASIN, the image URL, the title of the product. If it's an ad, their buy price, and their review scores and numbers over here. Okay. So these are the lists of those products in the search pages. So how much would it cost to use this search request? So let's go back here and our documentation reference. All right, so for the search by keyword request, initial cost would be 1 credit. However, the final cost will depend on the number of products that the search pages generated. So for each 50 products, it's equivalent to 1 credit. Okay. So for example, the search pages generated 100 products, then that's going to be equivalent to 2 credits used for the request. All right. So now let's try another request. Let's move with the offers. All right. So this time we can use the offers request if you want to gather the list of sellers for that specific ASIN in that specific marketplace. So for example, let's go back again to Amazon.com with this example ASIN that we have. Then select output, still JSON by default. Then now send API request. Okay, waiting for a couple seconds. Okay, here we go. So for the offers request that we used, this is the result. So we got here the ASIN, the parse date and time. Okay, now we have here the list of sellers who are currently selling that specific ASIN as example. All right, so we see their seller ID, their price, and if they're FBA, their seller name, the product condition, and so on. Okay, and the credit cost for this offers request is, let's go back here again. Okay, so for the offers request over here, it says that it would cost 1 credit per 10 sellers, minimum of 1. So which means that it also depends on the number of sellers that the results generates. So if it generated 10 sellers and below, so it's just going to consume 1 credit. However, if the results gave like 20 sellers, then that's going to become 2 credits for the cost. Okay. All right. So now let's go to another seller request type, which is the best sellers. So you can use the best sellers request type if you want to gather all the best seller products in a specific category. So for example, we have here Amazon.com, then the category ID where you want to get the best sellers list of products or ASINs. Then max page, you have the option to choose 1 or 2 pages. So again, this refers to the Amazon search results pages. So you can put there 1 or 2. Then for the output, we will try the CSV format to see how it goes. Okay, so now click on send API request. All right, so we have here now the category example that we used, which is this one. Then the parse date and time, the lists of the bestseller products in the specific category that we searched for over here. So as you can see, they're quite long. They are arranged according to their bestseller rank over here. So this is the first product. So you can see here, it says position 1. Then we have here position 2. And the next is position 3, and so on. So we see also their ASIN, their image URL, the title of the product, their price, their number of reviews, and their scores. Okay. So for this sample category ID, you can actually see this one as well when you do a product search request. So we can find it in the results page, the product, this category ID, or you can go to the Amazon website directly and you can find the category ID in their bestsellers tab. So for the costs of the bestseller search request, you need to go back here to our API reference. Okay, so for the bestseller cost, let's check here. It says it's a fixed cost, 4 credits per requested page. So remember earlier, we had the option to select 1 or 2 pages. So if we selected 2 pages, then that was gonna consume 8 credits. But since we only tested 1 page, so it's only 4 credits. All right, so now let's try another type of request. Let's go back over here. Now the seller or storefront request over here. So basically the storefront request is used whenever you want to get the list of an entire storefront. So for example, you select here a specific marketplace, then you enter here the seller ID or the storefront ID and select again your preferred output. So let's do the CSV output still, then click on send API request. Now we got the request. So it says here the status for requests. It says, so the selected market we chose earlier is the US. The store ID is this one, same as this. So the store name now, we see that it's this one, then parse date and time. Then we get all the seller information over here. And then we get the list of the products or ASINs that this seller is selling. So we see here the ASIN, the title, and the image links over here. All right, now for the cost, let's go back again to our seller API reference, storefront. Okay. Okay, so it says here that initially the storefront request consumes 1 credit. However, the final usage depends on the number of items or products that is shown in this results page. So it says that per every 20 items, it's going to consume 1 credit. All right. So if our search results page gave out at least, let's say, 40 items, then that's going to become 2 credits over here. If it was 60 items, then that's going to be 3 credits over here. Okay. So now let's move on to the last type of request. Let's go back here. So the Brandstore request is quite similar with the storefront request, where we can get the list of product information from specific brand store, like this one. All right. So we select here a specific marketplace, then we input this brand store ID, then select our output. All right. So let's try going back to the JSON format, then click on API request. All right. So now we have the results. So we got here, says again, status success, market US, which is this one. Store ID or the brand store ID is this one, which is we selected. Then we got here this store name and the parse date and time, which is today. Okay, then we see here all the list of the products that this brand store is selling over here. All right, so we can check again their ASIN, the titles, and their image links. Okay. And for the corresponding cost of a brand store request, so we need to go back here again to our API reference. So it says here initially the system's going to require 1 credit. Then that final usage is 1 credit per 20 items, minimum of 1, which means that for every 20 items or ASINs that are shown in the search results page, it's going to consume 1 credit. All right. So now, since we already know how each of the API requests work, if you need to review their corresponding credit costs in terms of usage, you can just simply go to our API reference page and go to the credits and billing section over here. Then you will see the list of request types with their corresponding credit costs over here. All right. So now let's talk about our billing. So we just need to go back to this previous page, click on the billing page over here. Okay, so currently we have 3 different tiers. First is the starter, then we have the pro, then enterprise. So each of these tiers has different corresponding monthly credits to them. So for example, under starter, we have first level with 1,000 credits per month. Next is 10,000 credits per month. And then we have the 100,000 credits per month. Then under pro, we have the 250,000 credits per month, 1,000,000 credits a month, and then 5 million credits per month. If it's not enough for you, then you can go for our enterprise tier with 20 million credits a month, then 50 million and 100 million over here. Okay. So for example, you're not sure yet on how much credits you or your team will need. So you just decided to go with the 1,000 credits a month first to test. But then as you went by, you quickly realized that that is not enough for you and that you're about to run out of it already. So we actually have this feature which allows you to use extra credits over here. So all you have to do is turn this button on. And what this does is that depending on your selected plan, the system will allow you to have extra credits that you can use in case you run out of your allotted monthly credit. That way, your workflows and systems will not be interrupted. All right. So for example, you have here the 1,000 credits per month plan, and then you ran out of it already. So the system will send you an extra 500 credits per batch, okay, with a corresponding price of $13.30, which will be charged on your card in your account. All right. And the total extra limit that you can get is up to 50% of your plan. So if you select this 1,000 credits a month, the total extra credit you can get is only up to 500. So in this example, you will only get 1 batch, okay? However, if you start with 10,000 credits in a month, for example, and then you run out of it, so the extra credits you will get will be 1,000 credits per batch, when you run out of your allotted monthly credit with the corresponding price of $4.88. And if, for example, the first batch of 1,000 extra credits also run out, then you will be sent another 1,000 extra credits as a second batch, and then again you'll be charged for $4.88 under this plan, with a total extra limit of up to 50% of your plan, which is up to 5,000 extra credit. Okay. And if, for example, you started with 100,000, so extra credits per batch will be 1,000 with a corresponding price of only $1.50, with a total extra limit of up to 50,000 as 50% of your plan. Okay. So the bigger the plan credits you start with, the cheaper the extra credits per batch will cost. Like, for example, here you have 250,000 credits a month. Then if you run out of it, extra package will only cost 90 cents per batch. Then if you start with this one, for example, it will cost 60 per extra batch, and so on. Okay. So I think that's it so far for this video. Thank you so much for watching.